Good morning, everyone. Really look forward to this live today with Christine Assouad, the founder and CEO of Dunkin' Lebanon, of Sumsum, and a new venture she just started, the Catalyst of Growth. So Christine will be joining us. If you are interested in entrepreneurship, if you're interested in how to start your own venture, this is the life to be in. Christine will give us a lot of tips about how she started her business at 22 years old and how she has been thriving through the current crisis as well. Her and her wonderful teams in the different Dunkin' Donuts Lebanon, Samsung, and the new initiative she just created. So, Christine, I see you joined with the Catalyst of Growth account. So, if you can just press to join the live, and so we can start our conversation. Yes, here you go. And if you have questions, send us in the box that you find below, and we'll be answering them along the way. Because I'm sure for the ones who are really looking forward to open up their business. Hi.
Hello.
How are you, Christine?
Très bien. How are you? Very happy to be here.
Yes, same for me. While waiting for you, I was telling the audience a little bit about your journey, but I think it's better if they hear it from yourself. So tell us, Christine, how did you start as early as 23 years old to open up the Dunkin' Donuts franchise in Lebanon? Then you followed with the Sumsum, completely new concept about spreading Lebanese cuisine abroad. And finally, we leave for the second part, your new initiative, the Catalyst of Growth.
First, thank you so much, Caroline, for having me. I'm a big fan, so at some point we'll do the other way around. I'll be interviewing you. It's been an amazing journey. I started with Dunkin'. I was 22. You know, at 22, you don't really think that failure is an option, so you just start with your journey, and it's been amazing. I love the brand. I think what we've done in Lebanon is pretty cool as well. And now we have 35 locations across Lebanon. Then we started Sumsum 12 years ago because of a taxi driver that didn't know what Lebanese cuisine was. So we decided to take on the mission of taking Lebanese cuisine to the world.
Yeah, it was a taxi.
Yes, Mazboot. Actually, it was a taxi driver in Washington, D.C. And I don't think he has any idea of the impact he had on my life. And then the catalyst of growth is the new venture, because I've been mentoring young entrepreneurs for 10 years now. I had 35 entrepreneurs, mostly women, only 2 men, and 33 women, and I love it. I love the exchange. I learn a lot. I know I have an impact as well. And this is how the idea came while we were at home, to start a channel for young entrepreneurs to be able to have more impact on more people. And the feedback on the first video has been amazing. We had 3,000 views. I had tons of questions, of positive feedback. So I'm very happy about it. It's still a small baby, so we're all excited about this new venture.
That's fabulous. So Christine, let's start again from the beginning. What I'm curious about is how, from an idea, you created a business. So, for example, you were studying, I think, in Montreal, and you thought that coffee, donuts, whatever trend was something that was gaining momentum in the youth. How did, from this observation, how did you decide to bring the franchise to Lebanon? How do you jump from an observation, an idea, to actually doing it?
So actually, I'm sure a lot of teachers will not be happy with my next statement, because the main reason why Dunkin' is in Lebanon is because I was spending more time at coffee shops than at school when I when I was studying at McGill, and I was discussing with my dad back then. I was super happy in Montreal. I was not planning to come back, or at least for a certain period of time. And then he told me, "What would you miss the most if you come back?" I told him, coffee shops and skydiving. I used to skydive back then as well. He said, okay, skydiving, there's nothing I can do about it, but coffee shop, why don't you think of bringing a coffee shop back to Lebanon? It was in 96. This conversation was in 96. It was the end of the war. There was absolutely nothing. So I got very excited in bringing back a coffee shop for the Lebanese youth that I was back then. And we looked at different concepts. I love Dunkin' because they had 2-star items, the coffee and the donut. So and I knew that Lebanese will fall for donuts, for the sweets. Yani, it's very difficult to think about it, but back then Dunkin' did a survey. 90% of people didn't know what a donut was, and 95% of people considered American coffee colored water. So the conclusion of the study was, do not enter this market. I loved it because this means there's an opportunity to create something nice, and this is how Dunkin' started.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I mean, the statistics or the market research that we usually do were against opening in Lebanon.
Yes, and this is why when I read market research, I try to see what is it really telling us and not what the conclusion of the research is.
Yeah. So, and how did you go? So you took the franchise, you negotiated for it, and then you had to recruit a team. How did you grow the business to the level that it is now?
What happened is that they had 27 applicants for Lebanon. So it was very interesting to go through the application process, but we were very lucky because this is when Dunkin' was franchising for the region. So timing worked perfectly. And I started with the dummies because I studied nutrition and dietetics at AUB. I'm a big fan of AUB. And then I did food science at McGill, so nothing business related. So I started with the dummies collection, finance for dummies, business plan for dummies, the whole thing for dummies. And it's amazing books, really. I would recommend them. So this is how I started, and I did things that I enjoyed. We did coffee shops in front of universities because this is mostly the crowd that I could talk to because I just finished university. We opened like big stores. When Dunkin' Zala opened, it was the biggest Dunkin' store in the world because most Dunkin' stores back then were only just pick up and more takeaway. So when we opened the first store, all the Dunkin' teams thought we were completely crazy, but we said, why not? Let's give it a try. And we were the first one to have couches and things like this. But this is 98, so it's very difficult to relate now. But it's been an amazing journey. And Ahamashi is that I'm surrounded with an amazing team. And this has been my blessing since we started. I think we have an amazing culture within the company, and no one succeeds alone. I'm the face of the company, but there are 250 people that are there, and without them, we would be nothing. And in times of crisis, this is where you really feel the importance of company culture, when you see people doing whatever it takes, like from taking water from one store to the other, to driving trucks, even though you're not a driver, to doing whatever it takes to make things happen. This is when you know that you have an amazing culture happening.
Yeah, you told me we are in the business of the smiling business. I love that. It's not donuts, it's smiling business.
مظبوط لأنه what we sell is a moment of happiness, and what the most important is that every single person in the organization genuinely believes that our role, our mission is to spread happiness. يعني everything that we need to do is for people when they leave to be a little bit happier than when they came in. And once this is the purpose of an organization, there's a lot of things that can happen. First, we hire only happy people, and you'll be surprised how difficult it is to find happy people. Second, all the metrics are around happiness. The values are around the happiness. Everything we do is about the smile and the happiness. Now we're doing the new mask with big smiles on them, because at the end of the day, we're just selling a moment of happiness, and it happened to be through coffee and donuts, and the products help. Same thing with hummus and tabbouleh for Sumsum. Yani it's creating this vibe in the store that makes you feel at ease and happy. This is what we do.
I wish governments would also measure the happiness of the population instead of measuring GDP and things which are very far. Christine,
Some
let's say,
country did actually.
yes,
Bhutan is
exactly.
Bhutan does the happiness metric.
Christine, okay. Let's say Dunkin' Donuts is a franchise; it's a known brand, and you went through a certain journey. But Sum is your baby. It's a complete concept that you have started from scratch, correct? So tell us how also from the idea of this taxi driver who didn't know Lebanese cuisine, you went through creating a concept, a culture, etc. And how many stores you have?
This has been also another interesting journey, because the main aim of Sum is to take Lebanese cuisine wherever you can, like to try to make sure that you don't have a lot of people like the taxi driver that never heard about hummus or tabbouleh. So the journey has been also unbelievable. لأنه first is creating the concept, creating the brand. We wanted a Lebanese restaurant that looks like us, like not the Lebanese restaurant with the papillon and the list, the old style. We wanted a young, modern Lebanese approach that represents our generation, the young Lebanese culture, and not only بعلبك and anjar يعني. So this is why we created a menu. We call it with a twist. So you have all the traditional Lebanese recipes: the hummus, tabbouleh, fatoush. The hummus is my grandmother's recipe. I'm very picky on the hummus. I think we have the second. We created few items: hummus مع زعتر وسماء, with olives, hummus, and falafel. Plenty of. It's not fusion because it's a mix of Lebanese ingredients. So we did not bring food that is not from Lebanese origin, but we made it in a more modern way. The feedback has been really nice. We have stores now in Dubai, in Ras Al Khaimah, in Cairo, in Muscat, and Suhar. And what I love the most is when I'm in the store and someone tells me, we traveled to Lebanon. No, thanks to you, we traveled to Lebanon. Now we're receiving messages of people telling us, please open, we want to visit Lebanon. So for they understood the mission of Sum. The mission of Sum is for people coming to travel. This moment, happy moment, is to travel to Lebanon for an hour during your lunch or dinner, and then to come back. And it's the whole culture that we're trying to transport, not only the food.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Christine, tell me now, we're going to maybe move to the second part, which is how you're dealing with the crisis. I mean, I'm sure the Horeca F&B sector has been really affected by the current first October 17 in Lebanon, and then the pandemic, the COVID. And now that, we're gradually opening up again, how will we take this forward? So tell us how you've managed to go through this crisis. And I know you have a special episode in the Catalyst of Growth about how you manage the crisis. So I'm sure you're going to give us some of the tips.
What Lebanese are going through now is extremely hard. We have the global pandemic of Corona that will end someday, but we have the Thawra, the capital control, devaluation, and Corona on top. And especially the restaurant sector is hit very hard, and it's going to unfortunately be hit very hard for a long period of time. First, until the vaccine for Corona comes out, so that people are more at ease to go out and sit, to be surrounded. Now we're at 50% occupancy, which doesn't help at all. And second, a lot of items are imported. So now you're selling Lebanese pound, going to the Sarraf and trying to buy some product. In our case, in the case of Dunkin', 90% of the raw material is imported. So it's extremely complicated. But at the end of the day, my grandmother used to tell me that God will not send you a problem that you cannot solve. So wow. It's been a main driver. Every time I'm faced with a problem, I think, okay, I can solve it. How can I turn this crisis into something positive? How can I turn the negative into something positive? And as you said, I have the first episode on the Catalyst of Growth was on crisis management. And we work with 5 different points on crisis management. First is focusing on what's essential. And this is very hard, deciding what's not essential. So letting go of departments, closing stores. We need to take a lot of courageous decisions to be able to keep going. And this is a very tough time. So this is one. Second, focusing on cash flow more than profitability, because cash flow becomes more important than profitability when you're in a crisis. Third is, even if you're in a crisis, to try to still look at opportunities for growth. We have few things that we're finalizing now. Hopefully we can talk about them next week. We're doing things, we're creating ideas, we're creating concepts, partnerships that we wouldn't have created if it wasn't for the crisis. So trying to take something negative into something positive, this is what we've been working on. Fourth point is for people to think of the after crisis, any crisis, even though if in Lebanon it's going to take longer than the rest of the world, let's say if the crisis will end by the end of the year, we have at least 3 to 4 years of crisis. But at the end, the crisis is gonna end. Nothing lasts forever. So it's very important to always think of the after crisis. What are the things that I can do today to become a better company, a better brand once the crisis is over? And this is always at the back of my mind. How can we work? How would people think about us during this crisis, after this crisis is over? Sure. And the last point is that you're not alone. A lot of entrepreneurs are going through very hard times now, especially in the restaurant business, but any entrepreneur that have a small business that is not a mature business, we're lucky to be able to sustain probably better than others, but it's very hard, and you're not alone. Ask for help. Sometimes I know I used to be like this. It was very difficult for me to ask for help, but now every time I have an issue or I feel that I need support, I just ask family, peers, business organization, networks. The beauty of this crisis is to see how everybody is helping each other, to see how even Lebanese are. I don't know anyone that did not send food boxes to as many people as they can. We've been distributing donuts more than we've been selling donuts over the past few weeks. But it's the whole. Everyone is helping each other. The whole society is helping each other. So ask for help if you need help. So the last point is connect. This is the fifth point of the video.
Christine, what I found interesting is that you told me that you are following the consumers where they are going. So you installed some corners in supermarkets, which was not initially your area. So yes, tell us about some interesting initiatives that you've done to manage this difficult moment and follow the consumers where they are.
Exactly. And it's about two things: following geographically the consumer where they are, and second, understanding the shift and the changes in their behavior and trying to adapt. So first, following the consumer in the war of 2006, within a week, we opened 4 locations. We opened in El Ayat, in Bremena, in Faqra, and in Faraya, because we knew that this is where people were going. Now people are going in supermarkets and pharmacies, so we opened in supermarkets as well. And now also we're trying to try to geographically go where our customers are. So this is one. Second is in terms of behavior as well. For example, for Sumsum, the idea is to create this Lebanese atmosphere. So we created a delivery experience. So they get a playlist of Lebanese music, حتى الشرشف, the cutlery, the different things, so that even if it's a delivery, they have this Lebanese experience as well. We did the plat du jour, do it yourself. So the rice alone, the djej alone, the sauce alone to do reza djej. So it's seeing how the consumer behavior is changing and adapting to the new consumer behavior. So it's both following the consumer geographically and following the consumer from a behavior perspective.
Yes, so amazing, very very innovative ideas and really understanding the consumer or your direct consumer. Now I want you to talk a little bit, Christine, about the catalyst of growth. You told me that there were 3 pillars that you're gonna develop through. So let's say to everyone that they can follow the catalyst of growth on Instagram, on YouTube, and you have a website. It's all thecatalyst of growth.com or at the catalyst of growth, correct? And tell us what you're going to do on this platform. And so it's about helping entrepreneurs, encouraging people who want to open up a business or a venture to go and to jump above their fears. So what can we find there?
Okay. So first, whoever is watching and didn't subscribe on the YouTube channel, just go and press the subscribe button to make sure that you receive, you are notified every Monday when we're posting a new video. The idea of the Catalyst of Growth, as I told you, I've been mentoring young entrepreneurs for 10 years now. So I got to understand what are the main fears, issues, problems that young entrepreneurs are facing. And sometimes it's simple things, like it doesn't need to be super complicated, but when you're involved in the beginning of completely overwhelmed when you're starting a business, so there are some small tricks that sometimes you don't think about. So first, the channel is divided into three, now it's four segments. The first one is insights. So we did insights on crisis management. As of next week during June, we're talking about culture, corporate culture. So it's like very short videos, 2 to 4 minutes videos on specific topic, culture, hiring, crisis management, strategy, etc. The second segment is interviews, like you're interviewing me now, so when I will interview you, so this would be in the interview section. And when we're interviewing, during the interviews, we're also talking entrepreneurship, so we're also talking mentoring. So if my guest was a mentor, how would they help their mentee in specific topics? So this is the way the interview will go. Third is behind the scenes. So whenever the situation permits, we're going to conferences or to executive programs or webinars. So I'll be taking the followers with me. And the fourth, because this came after the first video, which is Q&As. I received a lot of questions on the crisis video because it's a short video. Some people wanted more detail, so I did a follow-up video Q&A. I chose 4 questions and we went in depth in the 4 questions. So this is if someone wants more details. And the aim is to give insights. At the end of the day, every person is going to take whatever they need. Some people can see all the videos. Some people might be interested in one topic in particular. But it's just giving few insights based on the 20 years of experience and 10 years of mentoring, the way I see things. So that's it.
Part of a network which is called the YPO, which is the Young President Organization, and that you really advise anyone to go into networking groups like this one or other ones. Can you tell us what's the benefit of entering this kind of networking groups? And also, of course, you will be using some of the people you have met so they can transmit their wisdom to a larger crowd, which would be on your YouTube channel. So can we know more about it?
Absolutely. So first, I was very skeptic about networks and about business organization. We never have time, and taking more time out of our busy schedule, like to do networking, I didn't really feel that this would add any value into my life until I discovered YPO, which is an outstanding organization and is all about networking, but also about helping you becoming a better leader and a better person. And so it's more on the learning. So it's mainly meant for people with a growth mindset who always want to learn, who as much as they know, they feel that they still have so much to learn. And I've been to amazing executive programs. I've been to Harvard 7 times. It's a 9 years program, so I still have 2 years to go. I can't believe that it will end in 2 years. I'm very sad about it. I've been to Stanford, to LBS, so it's about teaching you business skills, but also human skills, and becoming better leaders, better business people, and better human beings as well. So I think now, after this experience, I realized how important sorry, the networking and we've been talking nonstop. Wait, let me do some branding as well. Never miss a branding opportunity. The pins don't show, but I have a Sumsum and a Duncan pin as well. So after the experience, I realized the importance of networking, of feeling that you're not alone, because CEOs, entrepreneurs are alone. when they are
Yeah.
faced with problems. Sometimes they don't want to share it with their families. They don't want to share it with their business colleagues. So being able to realize that even when faced with a crisis, faced with anything, you're not alone. You can share your insights if it's a topic that you're good at, and you can benefit from someone else's insight. So it's this pay it forward approach. And I think it's amazing, and everyone should try to find the network that works for him or her.
Sure. I know that for a lot of Lebanese companies, Lebanon, of course, especially now with its trouble, is becoming maybe too small of a market. You've already gone regionally. I think you've grown your brands in many countries. You will tell us how many. What did you learn by going regional? And what did you find similarities and differences while going outside of Lebanon?
Great question. No, first, definitely, not only now, Lebanon is a small market. The whole market of the whole potential is 4 or 5 million, 5 million people. While when you go to Saudi or Egypt, the size of the market does matter. We worked internationally in two things. First, we worked as consultants for many years with Dunkin' franchisees. Thank you. We worked with Dunkin' in 17 markets, whether doing market studies or specific projects. So this gave us a good understanding of international markets, mostly Europe and Middle East. Then with Simsum, we work in franchising. So it was the franchise agreement, and also we were able to work with many markets and try to understand the different markets in the GCC. We tried our luck for 3 years in the US. It was an extremely difficult venture, and we decided to pull out, but we also learned a lot. So what I learned the most is first that our consumer, the essence of human beings are the same all over the world. So if you can touch something that is at the essence of this person, you can grow a brand regionally. And for example, Dunkin' is about happiness. Happiness is a trait that you would find everywhere. Like, we were lucky to work in total in around 20 countries, and in 20 countries you feel that there's this search of happiness everywhere. So if you are able to find something that is a trait, that is a human trait, then you can grow anywhere you want. So people come. Of course, there are cultural differences. I say that we are all the same. We come in different packages, but at the end of the day, the essence of the human beings are the same all over the world. You need to understand the culture. You need to accept the culture and respect the culture. When you're going to a country, understanding the country, the culture is your responsibility. Accepting and adapting is also your responsibility as a brand. No, this is the way I am, and I don't care about the rest. لا, there are some أخذ وعطاء إذا بدك that is needed in when you're expanding regionally or internationally. But at the end of the day, just do something that you love, find something that is a human trait that is in common with everyone, and just go. The first time, I never forget, I was at LBS, and there was a guy next to me that was running a $1.2 billion company. And I realized that he was not better than I was. And for me, it was an eye-opener. When we come from a small country, sometimes we dream small dreams. Then because we just happen to be born in a small country. But no, we can have big dreams, even if we're born in a small country, because we've been through so much. Like Lebanese have been through so much. They can do whatever they want anywhere in the world.
Wow, that's fabulous. So, Christine, you're opening up the door for me for the last part of our talk, which is more about some personal things. I know you told me that you're someone extremely curious and adventurous. So, can you tell us a little bit about the crazy stuff you have done?
Yes, I went through a crazy period, and now the craziness is more about expanding the business and doing things differently. But I've been to the North Pole. I used to be a big avid skydiver. I have 531 jumps, rally driving, you name it. So I had this. I went through I was driving planes. I went through a phase where I was a big adrenaline junkie. But it's this sense of curiosity curiosity and this sense of adventure that was an adrenaline related stuff before, but now is about traveling. I've been to 75 countries, and I love discovering new countries, discovering new cultures. Now with my daughters, they've been to 25 countries, and trying to always learn. And whatever you learn from your advantage from your travel, try to see how you can bring it back home and add something. Every time I come back from any trip, I do something differently in my business, because this curiosity and the fact that you're always expanding your mind is always to bring something back to the business and do things differently.
Yeah, to create experiences, because what I understand from you is about customer experience. You're not selling a product only like hummus or coffee or donut. It's about the experience they have when they get into your store or get the delivery.
And what I love about this experience side is that I remember in one of the classrooms, a teacher said, "Would your customers miss you when you're gone?" And this was violent. No, this was wow. You never think about you when you're gone. And now with Corona, we were gone for 2 months. Our stores were closed, and it was amazing to see the messages we were receiving. Where are you? We miss you. There's something missing in our life. Whether on the Dunkin' side, on the Samsung side, and both, we've been receiving messages of customers that are missing the experience. They can eat hummus at home or eat desserts at home, but it's the experience that they were missing. And this was amazing to see, because this is what we're all about, and we could feel that customers are feeling this as well.
Yes, so the recognition you got by being away from your consumer, that's really cool. So before we wrap up, Christine, when in your life did you need courage?
When in my life did I need courage? You know, what we're going through now needs a lot of courage. What every single Lebanese is going through in 2020 needs a lot of courage, because we're always in a growth mindset, and now deciding that we need to downsize, that we need to shrink, that we need to think of what is essential and what is not is very difficult. Like it's, I think the most difficult decisions for me, or the most courageous decision, is when you have to pull the plug, when you have to close a store, when you have to exit a market, when you have to let go of people. And I think we're being tested on the courageous front, every single one of us, every single day, and we still have few years to go. So being in Lebanon needs a lot of courage right now, and really I applaud every entrepreneur that is fighting for their business and fighting for the families that live out of their businesses as well.
And what gives you hope, Christine?
What gives me hope? First, my daughters give me a lot of hope, because seeing them grow. It's Sarah's birthday. My little one is 15 years old today. So happy birthday, Sarah. She's gonna hate me for this, but we're live. She cannot do anything about it. My daughters give me a lot of hope. A lot of they give me courage. They give me this willingness to fight, to do it for them. And in times of crisis, what gave me the most hope is what we were talking about: how people are helping each other, how people are really giving their time, their ideas, their insights, their food, anything they can to each other. This is the essence of what Lebanon is all about, and the reason why I still believe in this country, and I'm still excited and passionate about this country, is because of its people, and this is what gives me hope.
Yes, I know also that your team, you were amazed by your team's resilience and how they told you, we're going to take this on, don't worry, so if you want to say a few words.
Really, for whoever from my team is watching now, thank you. Thank you, because if I am here today, if you're interviewing me, it's because I have an amazing team that is supporting the mission, the idea, the purpose of what we're trying to achieve. And during the crisis time, I was blown away by their response, by the way they were. Like when I was worried about something, they would say, okay, we got this, go and worry about something else. We can take care about this. And they didn't care, like whether it was, as we were talking before, Yani, we have people standing in supermarkets, operations managers standing in supermarket, HR manager becoming a driver, like every single person in the office or in the team and the manager, they just did whatever needed to be done to get to go through this this phase together. And this gives hope to anyone. You know, it's the human that give me the biggest hope.
What I was saying is that this series is about sisterhood and about women who are resilient. And I chose, you know, to interview you because actually the F&B sector is going through so much turmoil that it's difficult really to stay afloat. But despite all this, you're fighting every day with your team to stay afloat, to you know, manage this crisis. And on top of that, you came out with a new idea, which is the catalyst of growth, which is to you know, increase the impact you have as a mentor, not to 30 people in 10 years, but actually to much more through your YouTube. And so I felt that you are a message of hope as well and of resilience. And so that's why I've been so happy to interview you. I leave the last words to you. What is your message that you want to give to the audience? And well, we look forward to meet you in your different retail locations as well as on YouTube.
First, thank you, Caroline, because something like I Stand for Women is also a message of hope. Really, thank you for what you're doing, لأنه there's women can do anything, and for me, anything that is like woman or man, I'm completely against, because it's about the personality of the person, irrelevant of their gender, and showing women that they can be whoever they want to be and do whatever they want to do is an amazing mission that you gave to yourself. So thank you on behalf of all the women that follow your page. What I would like to say is,
as well, who are really supporters, that just so they feel included as well. And we have a lot of men who are he for she, who also love, you know, to support, and who are big. You tell me always on our teams the women are really performing great, etc. So.
Absolutely. And what I would like to end this with a message of hope, that what we're going through is very hard, and we can sugarcoat it the way we want. At the end, it's going to be, we have 3-4 years, I don't know how long, that are going to be very hard on anyone who is working or living in Lebanon. But we shouldn't let this crush us. We should always think that eventually this is going to end. Try to find different ways, different means to survive, whether it's on a business level, but on a personal level. We need to be mentally strong to be able to go through this. And it is going to end, and it's going to be great. And just stay positive and keep focusing on what's essential, and keep focusing on the real purpose and mission of whatever you decided to do.
Thank you, Christine. So for entrepreneurs to be, or people who are dreaming of opening up their own business, they can go to the Catalyst of Growth. And for the others who have missed Samsung or Dunkin', you know, they are open there and waiting for you. Thank you, Christine, for your positivity.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice journey.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.